Hey, you guys, welcome to podcast Soul Chats with Dani Joe, episode 5. And today or tonight, we have our BHPI investigators that I'm super excited to interview, as they're probably my favorite investigators in the world. But if you're joining us, say hello and just know that you have to give StreamYard permission to use your name. Otherwise, I won't know who's asking questions. But while we wait for a couple of people to join us here, you guys, why don't you start thinking about some of your favorite stories from the team, favorite pieces of equipment, and we'll get back to those questions. But first of all, I just want to say with BHPI here, we obviously have Mo, Brooke, Leanne, Casey, and Nan. And of course, Dani Joe, I'm a team member as well. But I'm going to let you guys each introduce yourself here and let everybody know how long you've been with the team and what you do on the team. So Mo, if you want to start.
Okay, my name is Mo Miller. Actually, my name is Maurice. My nickname is Mo. I'm the lead investigator for Black Hills Paranormal Investigations, and I've been with the team since 2008.
Oh my gosh.
I had a long time.
Awesome. Leanne, do you want to go next?
Sure. I'm Leanne Harlan. I have just been nominated to be the case manager for the team. I haven't started my job yet, so we will be moving into that, and that'll be fun. And I just was on Facebook today looking at pictures and found, I had to look, but so I have been on the team since 2014, October of 2014. I jumped right in to the Adams house as my first investigation. So I had a whole month.
Yeah, it was.
Yep. So that was fun. That was a good way to get started.
Super cool. And I'll just tell you how long I've been on the team. Obviously, I'm the psychic medium on the team, and I would have to go back and look. But I think I've been on 5 years now, so most likely 2017.
4 or 5, yeah.
Yeah. So, Brooke, you want to go next?
Yeah, so I'm an investigator on the team. To be honest, I have a very bad memory, and I don't know how long I've been on the team. Over a year, probably. That's what I've got.
I think maybe it's hard for you to remember also because you've helped out a little bit with the team.
Yeah.
On the team. So honorary member, maybe longer.
Yeah.
Cool. And
Nice.
Casey and Nan, you guys are the newest members.
We are. My name's Casey Hibbert. I'm an investigator with the team. I've been with the team since March, so 5 months already.
But you worked with us at the Adams for a couple years too. So
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and my first investigation was Boot Hill? No,
the Broken Boot.
Broken Boot. That's right, Broken Boot. Yeah. So.
And I'm the newest newbie. I've been on the team just for about a month now. And my first investigation was the brothel.
Sweet. Very cool. So we have quite a few people watching. No questions yet. You guys just know that as you ask questions, we'd be happy to answer them for you. I do want to just kind of share my story of how the team and I kind of came together. It was kind of a funny circumstance. The team had actually been called out to a house in Belle-Fourche. And there was quite a bit of paranormal activity there. After they had investigated, the homeowner reached out to me to have a reading and requested me to come to her home, which I do from time to time. And while I was in her home, I started sensing this really weird energy. And it really made me uncomfortable. And she had really wide eyes. And she's like, oh my gosh, you exactly are nailing it on the head. So we started talking about this, and she had told me she had a paranormal team out recently. And I said, well, did they have any, solutions for what to do with the paranormal activity? And through that, being able to kind of help her and guide her in that direction, I had reached out to the team thinking that maybe we could kind of partner together where they do the investigating and I kind of can provide a solution for people that want it. If it's needed. So I reached out to them through email, half expecting that they wouldn't respond. But they did. and invited me to Burger King, of all places, to meet up and see how things would go from there.
High dollar spenders, man.
Yeah.
We show up at this Burger King and we go in and we're having this conversation about all this crazy stuff, right? And this group keeps looking over their shoulders at us. It's a little Bible study group in Burger King that was terrified of what we were talking about. And Mo was pacing around the table like he does, right? So they were even more freaked out. And Mo, I'll let you finish how it went from there.
Well, if you guys follow Black Hills Paranormal Investigations, you know that we never quite poo-pooed on psychics, but we just didn't use them because we didn't want to use any kind of paranormal means to prove the existence of the paranormal. But for whatever reason, Dani reached out to us and everybody on the team was like, hey, let's give her a shot, which we had never done before and we haven't done since. It was kind of weird. It was almost like fate kind of thing.
So then the coolest thing was we ended up back at the same house together as kind of like our first working together, I guess. Little to my knowledge, though, that was a test you were sent.
That's a fact.
I actually didn't know that till more than a year later. And
we're good at secrets.
Yeah, you are. But apparently I passed the test well. So
she was on double secret probation.
So basically, go ahead.
The neat thing was the claims, of course, that the client had told us were mirrored by what Dani was picking up on. And we hadn't discussed anything with Dani, nor the client. So that was kind of neat. And the thing that really put us over the edge was one of the bedrooms upstairs had a soft spot in the floor, and we hadn't been to that part of the room. We hadn't even been in that room, actually. And she told us, Mark used to be on the team. He was my co-lead investigator. But we were walking in, and Dani stopped us and said, there's a soft spot in the back corner of that floor. And I'll be a monkey's uncle. We went into the room, and sure enough, there was a soft spot on the floor, which we had no prior idea of. And I'm glad she told us because we don't want to fall through the floor and tear up their house either.
Yeah, it was a beautiful house being restored. And it was a room that had a whole bunch of supplies in it. So we really couldn't get into the room well. And I was just standing in the doorway and heard Spirit tell me there was a soft spot in the floor. And sure enough, it was there. Although that's not my goal to have wow moments. My goal is to kind of be on the team to help with the paranormal activity. So I enjoy that. But that's kind of the story of how we came together. But I want you, Mo or Leanne, because you've been on the team longer, to tell us really kind of why BHPI came together or kind of what the mission is, what you guys really focus on.
Do you want to take it, Leanne?
Yes, because you are the team. I mean, you've been here the long, and honestly, I mean, I have been part of the team without being on the team because Mo and I work together. So I know a lot of the history, but he knows exactly what happened and how it got started, and I can fill in some later. But
when BHPI started, I was with another group called BHAPS, Black Hills Area Paranormal Society. We knew each other. And unfortunately, our team leader on BHAPS committed suicide. So our team kind of went, down the tubes because he was the heart and soul of the team. Thankfully, I knew the guys over at BHPI because we all knew each other. And they said, hey, Mo, would you like to come on the team? And I guess the rest is history because over the years, we moved through the ranks or whatever, and I ended up being the team lead. So, and as far as mission goes, I do believe there's something beyond us. I think that's a given. Whether or not it's a ghost or a spook or whatever you want to call it, that remains to be seen. Is it something that science might figure out in 50 years? Certainly. Is it something that might be a question for the next millennia? We don't know yet. But we work very hard to try to find out. And when people call us with claims like I have demons in my basement or what have you, Satan and his loyal minions, all this kind of goofy stuff. What we do is we're going to go in and we're going to try to find reasonable explanations for what's going on. And you might have a squirrel nest or, what have you. Anything beyond that, we have to start scratching our heads and go, what's going on and why. And that's where Dani and Brooke come in too, because they're intuitive and sensitive and all that fun stuff. And I'm not. I'm about as sensitive as a rock. So.
Me too.
Mo is Brooke and I are sitting on the floor closing a portal in a location. Mo walks right into the portal.
Into it.
Doing? I'm like, get out. Get out. You're standing in the portal that I'm trying to close.
That was so funny. That was
funny. Yeah, that was good.
Has the team, we have a question. Has the team ever been to the axe murder house?
The one in Wasilla, Iowa? No. Because a lot of there's been different places we've been invited to over the years, like the Axe Murder House. We've been invited to Estes Park up in Colorado, but those have been investigated ad nauseum. Because as an investigative team, the people that want like the thrills and whatnot, you go to the places just like Waverly Hills Sanatorium. Like that would be super cool, but it's been investigated. We know there's things going on there, so there's nothing that we're going to do that's going to change anything about that. Right. So what we try to do is we try to help people figure out what the heck is going on, if that makes any sense, versus just running around because it's cool. There might be a ghost here or a spook there kind of thing. Yeah,
that makes sense. So I think I want you guys to each share with me what your favorite piece of equipment is. I know that we have a lot of tools that we work with as a team, and some of them are our own senses, of course, but the equipment is great and fun to work with. And we know that when the Adams House time comes around, people love that interaction with being able to use the equipment. But I'll start with Brooke. What's your favorite piece of equipment?
So I'm pretty simple. My two favorite that I could probably just be happy with for like the rest of my time is I love the dowsing rods, the lighted dowsing rods, and also I really like using a mag light. The dowsing rods are super awesome because it's a mix, of an actual piece of equipment, but it's also kind of spiritual, which I'm very connected to. And then the mag light is awesome because you can use those two pieces of equipment in tandem. And I feel like using them together gets you even more validation of something going on, because then you have two things going off at once. And I feel like the mag light can just be used pretty much anywhere in any context, which I prefer a versatile piece of equipment. So yeah, that's probably my two favorite.
Yeah, and you use those two pieces well. They're definitely your pieces. So.
Thank you.
So
she's good at
it. She is good at it. Leanne, how about you?
I think one of the coolest things that we have that it doesn't matter where we are, what time of day, night, whatever, that it always produces something is our SLS camera. Perfect. And I just love it. It's just, it's so fun. And you've got that visual that, and we use a lot when we're doing live, and people, at home can see what we're seeing. And I just love it. I just think it's something, and it's, of course it's a heavy piece of equipment, so we struggle with it sometimes, but
exactly.
I love to bring it out every time. I mean, I really, it's just one of my favorites.
Yeah, I think that's a cool one. For those of you that don't know what that is, it's like a little video game screen kind of, and so people show up as a stick figure. So if spirit is in the room, they'll show up as a stick figure. And she's right, it works almost every investigation for us.
Mm-hmm.
How about Mo? What's your favorite piece?
Probably, I'm going to go with Leanne. I'm going to say the SLS camera. And I probably am a big fan of EVPs, audio recorders, because a lot of times we'll get stuff, and the people out in podcast land or whatever, if they don't understand, you have things that you can pick up on a recorder that you won't hear with your regular ears. And that's an EVP, of course. But there are times, and I think all of us have witnessed it before, where you actually hear voices. You physically hear them. That's called a disembodied voice. But when we're able to capture those and tie it in with the history or what's going on with the property, you really have to scratch your head. because what it's doing is developing a story. Basically, it's telling you that, you know, whatever the client may have said is happening to them in their house or place of business or what have you. Now you have audio to go with that too.
And for whatever reason, Mo is the best at EVPs. I try to do slams and I get nothing, but every time, you know, Mo just gets they love him. I mean, literally, because they'll ask for him by name in these EVPs. So they love Mo and it works really well for him. So I'm always glad that he does them.
Right. And I think that's some of the most compelling evidence that you can
Exactly.
Like, you can't explain that away.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
How about Nan? What's your favorite piece? I know you're kind of newer on the team, but
so I'm still getting used to all the pieces of equipment, learning about them. But I think the ones I've been intrigued by most so far, I have to second on the dowsing rods, because it's such a tangible, real time, like interactive kind of thing. So those have been fascinating to me. And I think my second favorites right now are probably a tie between the spirit box and the paranormal music box. Especially that music box, you know, it could be set somewhere no one else is near it, and you hear that little twinkly music go off, and it's like, okay, let's look into this.
I love that. And for those of you that haven't seen that, it looks like a little coffin and it plays creepy music. So it's perfect in the dark.
And what it does, it shoots out a beam similar to like a garage door. So you can only be 10 or 15 feet from a wall or wherever you're going to put it. But anything that crosses that beam, it's going to cause the little music box to go off, which is actually really good for us because we can use that in a room that we're not in. And then we'll hear it. So we know, hey, something just went past it and alarmed it. What's going on? And it gives us the opportunity to go there to find out what's going on.
Absolutely. All right, Casey, tell us, what is it?
She copied off my test. My favorite is, I have a couple. I like EVPs. When you can catch something on EVP, it's astounding, especially when you hear like very faintly in the background something and you know that nobody else on the team was talking. It's really exciting to catch those. And the paranormal music box, because when you put that in a dark room on the other side of the house and you know nobody else is there and suddenly that thing goes off, it gives you chills, and it's phenomenal to hear that stuff. So it's a lot of fun. So thanks for cheating off my paper.
She telepathically stole that from
She did. I told her to say that.
I'm surprised
in my head.
I'm surprised when we were at the brothel that you didn't say the spirit box, because remember when you walked in the parlor and you get the female voice that said, "Who's that guy?"
True. Yes, I do like that SB11. That thing is pretty cool. Yeah. So much so that it'd be fun to have one. Anyway. Yeah, that one was very cool. I forgot about that moment. So yeah, thank you. SB11. I will say that is a good one too. Yeah.
I love it. All right, Mo, you have a question from Sarah. She asked you, she said you don't seem to scare easily, but have you ever been scared during an investigation? I know the answer to this.
Well, I'll let Leanne's hold her. Let her answer it. Go ahead.
For as long as the 8 years I've been investigating with Mo, I can honestly say only one time ever has he been literally scared and affected by what was happening. And it was at the brothels. And we were actually filming a sizzle reel tape video, whatever, for a company. And we were up there, and Mo had stepped into this doorway and was just standing there. And I was kind of across the hallway from him, and I kind of just happened to look up, and he fell backwards into the room. And it was the oddest thing. And we everybody kind of saw that, and we're like, "Are you okay?" And I asked him, I said, "Are you okay?" And he's like, "I'm fine." And we're like, "Mo, you don't seem fine. Are you okay?" "I'm fine. Let's keep going." He didn't even want to talk about it. And finally we're like, so Mo does have a condition that I was a little worried about. And I said, "Are you okay?" And he said, I said, "What happened? Something happened to you. What happened?" He said, he was standing in the doorway and he felt something to the left of him, and he looked to the left and there was a face right there. And it literally made him fall back on his heels. And nothing has ever done that to him before. Ever. We took a break and he went outside and he had to catch his breath. It was the craziest thing. And I'm so sorry that I didn't get to see that apparition that was right there beside him, because it was, and
I know, too bad they didn't have the camera on me.
I know. And then honestly, it was so funny because then they wanted us to reproduce exactly how we all reacted when that happened. And we're like, you can't reproduce that. You cannot.
Except Casey could. He's a thespian.
There we go. We needed him there.
Casey's like, I'm on it. I am
Come on. Get on script, pal.
Right?
I love it. I love it.
And Mo can tell you exactly what that figure was, but I just that's the only time he's ever been affected like that I was aware of.
I guess scared wouldn't be the word, or maybe it would be, but it was like startling, really. It was like, everybody has experienced this where something invades your personal space. And then when I turned, this person was close enough they could have kissed me. And it seemed to kind of look like Wild Bill, but we don't know. We don't know because it happened like that. So to this day, I wouldn't say, here nor there on that one. Other than it was somebody standing there and they wanted to kiss me or something. I don't know.
Well, since we're talking about ghost stories, Sue asks what case stands out in your mind the most. So I'm going to start with Brooke. So basically, I just want you to tell me either your favorite experience or your favorite story from an investigation. So go ahead and share yours, Brooke.
Yeah, so I probably don't have a specific case or investigation that really stands out to me. They've all been awesome. I haven't probably been on the team long enough to have a case that was like, whoa. We've had some really awesome investigations. Probably my favorite moments in our case or in our investigations, when we last went to the Adams house and had our own investigation, I was getting some super awesome interaction with Seth Bullock, apparently, which was really cool. Yeah, and it was awesome because I was communicating with the male and I asked, what's your first letter of your last name? And it was a B. And I was like, does anyone know anyone that would be,
I think
a last
Casey
name? Yeah, with a B.
Well, because I think Seth lived next door, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I had no clue. And it ended up being Seth Bullock. And I think that was really special to me because it was something super specific that I would have had no idea about at all. So it was awesome.
That's cool. I have to say something right now because we're having this cool experience. Ow, I just pinched my finger. I have this cool thing that's happening right now on Brooke's screen. So everybody would be like, oh my God, did you see that orb? Right?
I saw it. Yeah, I saw it.
It's flies. It's flies, people. Trust me, when you see things moving on your cameras, most of the time, it's
That's right. Thank you for clearing that up too, Dani.
Once in a blue moon, there are orbs.
Yes.
I will tell you they happen, but they're very rare and very few and far in between. All right, Leanne, tell us your somebody was actually wondering about that. They just said.
I was actually wondering about that.
That's funny.
I saw it, but I wasn't going to say anything. I was like, no.
My house is not well sealed, so I get a lot of flies.
And us both.
Yeah.
Yeah, in your yurt, I'm sure.
In our yurt, yeah.
That is super cool, though.
That is cool.
Yes, it is cool.
So for me, I think that when we did, it was with Margie and Rick, when we were investigating in their building.
Yep.
I think that was just cool for me. And this is funny. Don't just everybody just hang with me here. My recorder was in the bathroom. And you could tell when people were going in the bathroom and when they were not in the bathroom.
Yeah, you could tell. Yeah.
So there was a few times when I was sorry that my recorder was in the bathroom, and I was thinking, why would you put your recorder in the bathroom? But at the same time, the toilets would flush in that bathroom, and nobody was in there. Because and I literally, when I was listening to my recording, I went back and I would document exactly when I could hear the door open and when I knew somebody left. And there was no noise after that. And then eventually the toilet would flush on its own a few times. So I thought that was interesting. It wasn't wow, like, oh my God, I think that was paranormal. But at the same time, I couldn't say that it wasn't either, because we had other stuff going on.
Right.
We had a crazy night that night. And that was just one odd thing that was unexplainable when I know there was nobody in there. That's
that same night that the fire alarms went off too.
Yeah.
And the fire department came in and saw us and said, "Oh, it's you guys," and turned right around and left.
Yeah. And one of the firemen wouldn't even come in. He's like, I'm not going in.
That's funny.
I love
so
that.
it was cool. That was a fun one. I really enjoyed that one night. We had a lot of stuff happen and a lot of people were there. It was a little crazy because we had a lot of people there, but it was fun.
Very cool. I think this is a really wise piece of advice to the newer members on the team. Do not put your recorder in the bathroom. I did it one time, never again.
Yes, because you have to listen to a lot of bodily functions. Bottom line.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
And with Mo, it can be interesting. We'll just say that.
It can be.
And honestly, I didn't know that so many conversations could be had in the bathroom. Just saying.
That's funny.
Oh my gosh. All right, Casey, give us your favorite experience that you've had so far.
I haven't been on many, but the one that stands out the most, we were investigating a house. And I remember using this really cool app, the Necrophonic, I think.
Yes.
Necrophonic. It's a pretty cool app. Well, we were sitting in the living room doing something, just listening, asking the house questions, all sorts of stuff. And for some reason, I think Dani asked if whoever was there was scared of me. And they said yes. Yeah. And I thought that was strange. And I was like, what's going on? And then somehow it ended up talking. Somehow we ended up in a past life. I was a vampire hunter or something. If you remember that, do you remember that whole vampire conversation we had?
So awesome.
Yeah, it was very crazy because Dani asked me, she said, "So do you have an interest in vampires or anything?" I said, "Funny you should ask, because as a kid, this is silly. As a kid, back in the trailer park I used to live in, a bunch of friends and I would run around at night pretending we're killing vampires. Like in the middle of the night, running up the hill, up the mountain, like doing these sweet karate moves off the hill and jabbing our stakes into the hearts. And it was hilarious. And so that was just kind of, I don't know, it was just kind of interesting that happened. It was quite fun. And that was also the house where Brooke, Mo, and I were in the basement.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we were doing the Necrophonic again. And we had all this weird stuff happen. And then we asked if there was like a coven there, and we got answers right away. There was a coven, and it was all sorts of crazy stuff in the basement. And the basement was very, very creepy and very
cramped,
damp,
yes.
Yeah. But that was probably my most memorable experience. It was very bizarre, but it was also kind of fun. So
that's cool. So, Nan, do you have a favorite or cool experience?
Yeah, kind of. Again, not very many. But the one we were just on at the brothel, we were in one of the bedrooms. I can't remember which one. It was the one where we were allowed to like touch the bed and go on the bed.
1920s, I think.
Okay, 1920s. Yeah. And so there's this little nightstand by the bed with like an old-fashioned wash basin and pitcher. And someone had the SLS camera on there. And so someone was laying on the bed. Then you see this little tiny stick figurine on the nightstand right next to the bed. Then it started jumping around and like dancing. And I mean, there's nobody else there, but just this little thing was just kind of bouncing
Crazy.
around. And so that was kind of cool.
Yeah, that SLS camera is pretty amazing.
It is amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Mo, you have a lot of things to think about, but what's your favorite? What's standing out with you tonight anyway?
Well, one of the first investigations I was on with BHPI, we were at a house here in Rapid City on the west side of town. And everything you've seen on the paranormal shows like Ghost Adventures, Ghost Hunters, yada, yada, anything that could happen did. We actually caught stuff on video flying across rooms. It was crazy. We even captured an EVP that none of us understood. We had Ernie LaPointe, and if you guys know Ernie, he's the grandson of Sitting Bull. We said, hey, Ernie, and we've known him for years. And we said, hey, Ernie, would you listen to this? And, he's Lakota. And he says it wasn't Lakota, but it's Nakota, starting with an N, and it's from up North Dakota by Mandan or something. That's the dialect, but it was asking, what do you mean? Because we were walking around like, hey, I'm Mo and I'm Mark or whatever, and it didn't understand us. And then the other thing that sticks out is that crazy capture. It was just Dani and I at a house here in Rapid City. And in a corner, the corner would get dark. Well, Leanne, you went on the walkthrough with us.
Yep.
Anyway, and during the investigation that night, where Dani went, we had a camera on her, and she would disappear. And then when she came back out and we took another picture of it, there was a dark figure in the corner. It was really, really creepy.
And when because that was after you and I had been there for the walk,
right?
We had experiences with the cameras on that same area,
right?
People were disappearing. It was in the picture. There's nobody there.
Nobody there.
It was the oddest thing.
And actually, I think we have a photograph of that on our Facebook page.
It's there. I think I saw it recently.
Black Hills Paranormal Investigations. We do have a Facebook page. We have a website also. So,
yeah, there's some cool evidence on the Facebook page if you guys want to go check that out and kind of look through there. That's probably one of my favorite investigations too. I feel like there's something cool that happens every time, right? So it's hard to pick a favorite, but the house that Mo's talking about, we had some really intense things happen. The lady that owned the home was actually standing in the room next to Mo in this little closet, and her feet started turning black. Like she was dying. It was like she was.
And we had it on camera, yeah.
And Mo's face transposed into someone else, and he could feel this person like taking over them. And we have all this.
It was weird.
Camera. It was crazy. But a spirit transition and crossover.
There we go.
You're good. We lost you for just a second.
That's where I helped a spirit cross over. And the cool thing was, if you've been in the room when that happens, nobody really knows that's what's going on but me. But then the room gets light. It actually lightens up as far as looking like it's brighter, and it feels lighter. And everybody was like, do you feel that? Do you see that? And I was just sitting there smiling because I knew what had happened. But we've had that experience at a couple of places where we've had someone cross over.
Well, it was just like Brooke wasn't there. It was just you. We were at the house in Bell. Remember when you were saging and you were upstairs in the bedroom, and all of a sudden the smoke got thick, super, super thick. I don't know why, but it was really weird.
Yeah, smoke gets thick when there's a lot of dark energy or negative energy around. Mark is watching, and
hey, Mark.
Hi, Mark.
Hey, buddy.
Mark. He wants you to talk about getting slapped in the forehead, Mo.
Oh, okay.
That is a good one.
That was it. That was one of the very first investigations where we got the Nakota EVP. They had a fire in their basement, so the upper floors were gutted. They still had 2x4s and stuff. Anyway, we were upstairs, and rumor on the street, one of the original owners of the house was kind of like a wife beater kind of thing. So I said, hey, I'm upstairs, and apparently it's the bedroom. So I'm like, I'm up here, It's just a guy. I said, I think you're yellow because you're picking on females. Here I am. And son of a biscuit eater, I got smacked on in a clear room, and all you heard was not Mark that's on but another Mark that was on the team. All you heard was he was hauling ass the other way. And I'm just standing in the room going, what the hell just happened?
Oh my gosh. Did you guys get
That's
that on
funny.
video?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
That's funny.
But that's the only time I've ever gotten like accosted or whatever you want to call it.
That's cool.
I have to tell you guys. So I'm sitting in my office, but the window is right here, and there is the brightest rainbow that I can see right now. It must be
Nice.
like what we're doing here because I don't normally see rainbows here. It's really happy today.
That's awesome.
Nice.
I love it. That's very cool.
Yeah.
I don't know why getting slapped in the forehead is making me think about the investigation where you were standing behind me recording me and I was looking down, walking uphill.
Oh yeah, and you smoked your head. Yeah, that was so funny. Yeah. Because you actually heard it. You heard like boom, like it reverberated. And then after I got done laughing, then I asked if she was okay.
Oh, jeez.
Things on video. The stupidest things on video.
We need to. What we need to do is come up with a blooper reel.
Yeah.
That would be
We
awesome.
Yes.
Yes. You guys, Brooke and Casey and Nan weren't on the team yet, but Mo and Mark were standing in front of the bathroom discussing something, and Mo was live, but I didn't know he was live.
Oh yeah.
I'm standing there. I'm waiting. I'm like, come on, guys. Finally, I just yelled, I have to poop.
And Mark and I are like, "Are you kidding?"
We're live on Facebook. Yeah.
That's funny.
But Judy McKay said, Mo, we redheads seem to piss people off at times for no reason at all.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
Okay, so I want to talk about so we know that activity happens in homes, or we've had, you've had evidence of that. But what about the times when you go in and it turns out to be the refrigerator or the furnace? What is your most debunkable situation or the thing that happens most often?
Well, first of all, what you have to do, like you go in, obviously we're going to do a walkthrough and find out what the claims are. But also, like once you're knee deep in an investigation, if you're picking up stuff, let's say a noise, right? And it's repetitive. It's like every 5 minutes or whatever. So that's going to be a heater or a refrigerator or something like that. Now, some people, because believe it or not, when we go and do walkthroughs, we're looking at your movies. We're looking at the books you read because, the night before you might have watched one hell of a scary movie. So now everything that goes bump in the night is Satan and his loyal minions. They're going to drag you by the nostrils to your basement and kill you. Okay. Which is furthest from the truth. But that's what you're thinking at the moment. And so we'll come through and we'll say, hey, it's your refrigerator, your light's going off and on, which it happens. It happens. It's like, hey, have you checked your plug lately? Have you checked your light switch? Well, no. Well, until, we don't want to automatically go to the dark side, if you will. We want to try to find out what is going on first. And then if we can't explain it, if we can't explain it, then we kind of, like I said, we have to start scratching our heads and go, what is going on? And that's why we use you and Brooke. You guys are excellent tools. And I don't mean that in a bad way. But when you're picking up on stuff, if we can verify it with scientific equipment, as scientific as we can be, that adds validity to what we're trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the cool thing about having intuitive people on the team is being able to, sometimes we can pick up where there might be activity or tell you what it is that, might be happening or going on. So it's just kind of, like you said, another tool, which is good for the team. So tell us a little bit, like if someone feels like they're having activity and they reach out to you, maybe through your Facebook page or through email, What's the process you go through?
Well, first of all, like they'll reach out and contact us. Then, 99% of the time, I'll send them another email. I'll say, hey, give me a call. And then we'll talk about what's going on. And then if it's something that we feel like maybe should be investigated, we'll schedule a walkthrough. Once we do the walkthroughs, and Leanne's been on walkthroughs with me, and I don't know if you have or not yet, Dani.
I have.
Oh, anyway, once we get through the walkthrough, we'll decide whether or not, an investigation is warranted. And that's decided with the client, of course. Anyway, once that's decided, then we'll set up a date and come in. And then if we do capture anything, we set up times for reveals and whatnot, so we can show you what we have captured or what we didn't capture, for that matter.
Yeah. And I don't go on a lot of walkthroughs. Actually, I think I've only been on one, because technically what we do also is when we get to a location, I never know where we're going. So I walk through the home, trying to pick up on what activity has been there without any prior knowledge of it. So, and that's helpful too, because that kind of sometimes validates really kind of activity, or if they're maybe elaborating a little bit. But yeah, I think one thing, I know that we have done a lot of investigations in homes and businesses. When do you think that you would warrant someone to reach out? Like, what would constitute, I feel like I want to reach out to a paranormal team?
That's very personal. That depends on the individual. And actually, I got to talk to you two after we're done with the podcast, because an individual has reached out to me, but I think it's going to warrant just a phone call between you two with the person. But normally, people that have contacted us, by and large, actually have something going on that they can't explain. Now, it might be as mundane as a leaky pipe or what have you, or it could be something more. We don't know until we get in there. We've also had people over the years that have called us because they're on different types of medications. Granted, I'm not a medical doctor, but we'll ask a certain amount of questions. We have to, like, are you on drugs or medication or whatever? Because if you read some of the side effects of these, you can hallucinate, you hear stuff, all kinds of crazy stuff. And we actually had a person, this is many years ago, came to us, and they were having all these crazy visions and stuff, spiders crawling on the walls and all this. And well, first of all, I thought, well, you probably need an exterminator, right? But letting them talk, Mark had suggested that maybe they go and have their meds adjusted and call us like in 6 weeks or whatever and let us know what's going on. Fair enough. They actually took our advice, had their meds adjusted, and everything was fine. So it's kind of like, God, for a lack of better terms, it's kind of like separating fly poop from pepper.
Yeah.
It's really hard, because when somebody calls you, they have a genuine need. There's something that is scaring them. Now, whether or not it's something blowing it off is the wrong word, but if it's something that we can take care of with a simple phone call, that's okay. And if we have to investigate, that's okay too.
Yeah.
Ultimately, we just want to help people.
Exactly.
Absolutely. And I think, even suggesting a medication change helps someone, that helps someone. Absolutely. And I understand why you would need to do that, just even for the safety of the team too. We go into a person's.
That's true too.
Yeah.
Because years ago, we went to a house. We were just doing a walkthrough. Scott was still on the team. It was east of town here, about by the base. Anyway, we had set up a time. It was like 8 o'clock or whatever, Tuesday, Wednesday, whenever, just to do a walkthrough. There was one piece of furniture in the house. It was a table. That was all that was in the house. There were kids running amok. There was a child on the front porch drinking a Budweiser. I kid you not. And we were like, nope, we're not doing it. We're not even going to mess with these people. And there was no adults there. The people that called us weren't even around.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a situation you definitely don't want to walk into. Could they be having paranormal? Yeah, but what do you, I mean?
Right, and I can tell by Brooke's face she's thinking roaches.
Oh, yeah.
Don't.
Okay, stop it. I don't know why, but I feel like I want you to tell the tin hat story.
Yeah, I've been waiting for that too.
Please tell the tin hat story.
Oh, is Mark still listening?
Mark, are you with us? I bet he is. He hasn't responded yet.
Okay. This was in the Northern Hills, kind of right next to Deadwood. Anyway, this lady had called us, and she said she wanted us to, investigate yada yada yada. So we went for a walkthrough. First of all, we got there at our scheduled time, like it was like a 5 o'clock or whatever. Okay, first of all, she opens the door, says we're early or late. I can't remember. Anyway, every clock in her house had a different time. Okay. And we walked through her house and did our due diligence. Come to find out, she thought her neighbors were shooting Curlian death rays at her. And she wanted us to figure all this out so she could take it to the courts and sue her neighbors. Also, she was referred to us by the lead police department, which I think is really crappy. But anyway, not funny.
It's not funny, but it is.
So, and you guys know me, I'm the proverbial nice guy. So we're leaving, and Mark is like, Mo, don't say it. Don't say it. Because I was going to set up like, shit, why not investigate, right? Oh, no. Mark was like, shut up. Don't tell. Shut up. Just keep walking. Mark had to keep me in check because he knows me.
I'm surprised he didn't just grab you by the ear and pull you out the
Oh yeah, but that, I'm not, very nice lady, but she honest to God needed a tinfoil hat. She really did.
Yeah.
Curlian death rays. Is that Star Trek? I don't even know.
I don't either.
But yeah, she thought these people were like aiming like death rays or some weird at her house. I don't understand it. It was crazy.
What are you going to do but laugh? I mean, it's funny, not funny, right?
Right.
Funny,
Right.
not funny.
Yeah, except you can't laugh while you're there. You want to say under your breath like, "Wow, them people are wacko," but you can't.
Gotta be respectful.
That's a fact.
Oh my gosh.
That's too funny.
So just to let everybody know that might be watching, if you ever get into that position, the BHPI, which is Black Hills Paranormal Investigations, has their own website, and there is also a Facebook page. So you can reach out to the team through either of those means. But Casey, why don't you share a little bit here about and Mo can chime in too if you don't know all the details, but talk about our work that we do with the Adams House in October.
Oh, very good. Very good.
So that was my first experience with BHPI. Something just crashed behind us outside. So there you go. It's very windy here. Sorry. Anyway, so that was my first experience with Black Hills Paranormal. And what it is
can you guys hear that? We're getting rain or something. Oh, never mind. It's a dog drinking out of the water bowl. Never mind.
My gosh.
This is what we have to deal with.
Yeah.
We're being very tame.
Oh, did you hear that? It's Mo talking again. Just kidding, Mo.
Oh, haha. Is that Casey? Oh, yeah. He farted. Yeah, I get
Do
it.
you smell that? Oh, don't worry. That's just Mo. He had chili dogs for lunch.
That's right.
Just kidding. We love Mo. So Adam says it lasts 3 weekends in October. Is that right? First three weekends in October. So the team comes. They do what's that?
Second, third, and fourth. There's 5 weekends this year.
Oh.
Okay, and this year, but we only do 3 of them.
Yeah.
3 of them.
And we don't do Halloween. We don't do the dead weird thing.
No.
Right. Yeah. So BHPI comes and I guess kind of does, I guess we call it hosting an investigation for the public. There's about 20 people. We usually do 10 upstairs, 10 downstairs, and we do 4 investigations, 6 to 6, something like that, 7:30 up to midnight. And we just go through the house and introduce all these people to all the gadgets and things that we use. And tell them to get involved. Let them ask questions of the house. Tell them, hey, I know this is going to be weird, but we want you to ask questions to thin air, and just see the response and what happens.
Right.
And that was the first time I knew that I really wanted to be part of Black Hills Paranormal, because, I've been astounded by everything paranormal since I was a kid. And so that was the first experience I love, that I liked doing. And it's kind of fun for all the people that come. It sells out, in the blink of an eye. So it's really kind of a fun experience for everybody.
And the proceeds that Adams do, that they get from our investigations of the Adams house in October, do go right back to Deadwood history to preserve and keep the integrity of all the historic locations that they take care of. Also, with what Casey was saying, almost all the equipment that we use, we are going to hand out to the individuals that are on the investigations with us. So they're using the equipment just like we do. And if something happens, they are privy to it just like we are. We're not walking around just telling the story like, oh, there's a spook in that room and there's a spook upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
They're interacting with them just like we are. And the funny thing with the Adams, every October, it seems like just about every single investigation we go on, something happens. Now, it might not be earth shattering, like, no zombie's going to come out and grab you or anything like that. But you might see a shadow. You might get an EVP. The periscopes might go off where nobody's moving around. It's really interesting. And it's interesting for the public to see what an actual paranormal group does. And I hate to do this, but what you watch when you watch the stuff on TV is you're watching a highlight reel. 6 or 8 hours of an investigation, you get an hour of, oh my goodness, it's a demon and we're running down the hall and all this goofy stuff. It doesn't happen that way. At least I've been fortunate enough in all the 14, 15 years that I've done it. I haven't ran into anything like that. I ran into some angry stuff. Possibly.
They definitely have to make it look good for TV.
Right.
Yeah, it's definitely.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's definitely, and I've been privy to doing some film and stuff, and I can tell you everything that they do is scripted for entertainment.
And it's overhyped. Sure.
It is. Yeah. Because, now that I've especially sat on a 6-hour investigation, I can tell you there's nothing like what they do.
Sometimes it's like watching paint dry in the dark.
Yes. Yep. Right. Yeah. But, it's also fun because when that one thing happens that you can't quite figure out, it's like, this is what we've been doing this all night for, is this, even if it's just this one thing. So it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Well, and I think that even when it's boring, it's pretty fun because best teams around. No joke.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
no joke.
Well, and anybody that's watching sees how we play off each other anyway. So
yes. Absolutely. And they don't even get to see the half of it most of the time.
No.
Yeah, right.
And if we're not teasing each other, we're not having any fun. So it's all
Absolutely.
good.
I have to say, I guess it was one of the first investigations I was on, and I guess Dani had said you guys had done this quite a lot, but before we actually went to the site, we met at a gas station so we could all meet together.
Yes.
And we laughed some of the hardest laughs of my life.
Oh, yeah. That's true.
It was absolutely bonkers. And we hadn't even started anything yet.
No.
Everyone was hyped up on Red Bull and gummy bears and ready for an investigation.
That's right. Gummy bears. That's the secret right there.
Secret gummy bears. But don't give Mo gummy peach rings because
no, those are
we're
nasty.
divided on that.
Those are nasty.
Oh gosh, you guys. Mark says he misses scaring us, and that because he could scare the shit out of me without doing anything. Just stand there.
He only scared me once or twice. He was just standing at the end of a hall and I'm walking by, and then you stop and you're like, did I just see somebody? Then you look and he never moved. And then I see him, I'm like, oh.
That's funny.
Has to take over that role.
What?
Somebody has to take over that role.
Challenge has been issued.
But we have to preface this. We only do that kind of stuff when nothing is going on.
Yeah.
We can't do that while we're actively investigating because then it kind of muddies the waters, if you will.
Yeah, right. Yep.
Yeah.
We've all got a serious switch and a fun switch.
Right.
Exactly.
Well, you guys, we're almost out of time here, but I do want you to share with me maybe your favorite room in Adam's house, or maybe your favorite. There's quite a few that reside there, but
Say that last bit
Leanne,
again. We're cutting out.
oh, sorry. Yeah, we're just about out of time, but I wanted you each to share with me your favorite room or spirit from the Adams house. So, Leanne, do you want to share yours?
My favorite room is the library. It just is. It just has a feeling the minute you walk in, and it never disappoints. There's always something that the equipment goes bananas in there. So yeah, that's always just been my favorite.
Definitely. Cool. How about Mo?
I think for me, it's going to be the walkway between the music room and the library, and WE's room. And that's because, there's the 2 beds, and we actually had a Periscope on one 2 years ago. And we asked, WE, if you're in here with us, what bed did you die in? The Periscope lit up, and we also got a slam EVP that said it was the left. Now, whether or not it's WE, probably is, but you got to scratch your head. We got a super clear EVP that said it was the left, so something's answering me. But also, and this has nothing to do with the favorite rooms, but right across the hall, what's that? The master bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
A couple years ago, I sent Rose out in the hall to do something. I can't remember, and I was doing a slam EVP. And we get an old lady. Her voice comes through clear as a bell. Where is Rose going? And see, that even makes my arm hair stand up now.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
I think that was in Mary's bedroom across the hall from WE's room.
Nope. It was in, because I was with Mo.
It was in the master bedroom.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah. Because the equipment was going off.
Nice.
Yeah, it was. You could hear it screeching in the background, and then a voice I've never ever heard before.
Nice.
Old lady voice.
Yeah,
that's cool.
And Dani, and you and Brooke have seen somebody on the stairwell up front.
Yes.
Yeah.
And just a few weeks ago, me, Rose, and I can't remember the gentleman's name, we had to go up there for a magazine interview. And we did a little impromptu investigation. And on the stairs, we were getting interactions and stuff. I didn't get any EVPs, but the periscopes were lighting up and the spirit box was going off. Or the music box, excuse me.
Nice.
That's cool.
Cool. How about you, Brooke?
I'm still, of course, getting familiar with the house. I've obviously been in the Adams house a lot, but I would probably say it's kind of a tie between the music room and the library there. I feel like that's probably where I personally have experienced the most activity and seen the most activity, and I just think they're beautiful rooms too. So
they really are. And if anybody gets the opportunity, the people that do the investigations with us, they need to see the Adams house during the day. It's a beautiful home.
It is. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Very cool. I don't know if you guys heard that beeping noise, but my phone is possessed, and it did its thing that it does several times a day when it's trying to listen to me, and it's like, what are you saying? I don't understand you. Anyway, Nan, how about you? I know you've investigated once at the Adams house.
Yeah, unofficially, not on the team, but I did the tour before I was on the team. I guess I don't know if I have a favorite room yet, because again, still getting used to the house, but I know probably the one I'm most intrigued by, there's a bathroom upstairs.
Yes.
And I know even when I think I was on one of the Christmas tours before I even had any idea about BHPI or anything, and I remember we kind of walked past it and I was like, ooh, this room feels way different than the rest of the house. So that one always just would be interesting to find out more about that one. And so
you need to put a recorder in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Bathroom.
The one exception.
Right.
The one exception to the bathroom rule. Yeah. That's
Exactly.
funny. That's
awesome.
too
How
funny.
about Casey?
So I'm going to have to go with Leanne and Mo on this one. I love the library and I always have even since I started as a tour guide there. there's just this, I don't know, this feeling of the library. Like, and when you walk in there at night, like, and Mo and I have said this to each other quite a few times, like, do you feel like that change in energy and that change in something in that
It's
room?
almost
And
like
then
walking through a wall of static. almost.
exactly. Yeah. And I remember, tell this real quick story, that we were doing Spirit Box. I was sitting in the parlor looking down the hallway that Mo likes into the
That's right.
library.
Yeah.
And we were doing the Spirit Box, and I'm staring into the room, and it suddenly started getting darker and darker, which was very strange. And then all of a sudden, I had to like do like a double take. I'm like, what is going on? And I watched from the library through the hallway, I'm going to say probably a 6 foot tall white apparition just come closer and closer. And Mo was just to my left, I think. And I said, Mo, do you see that? And he said,
Yep.
oh yeah. Yeah, I see that. Yeah. So it was very, so that, and that was probably also my favorite experience at the Adams house so far. So,
Oh, while I'm thinking about it, for the people that attend the investigations with us, like you've listened to us, things do happen at the Adams house. Nothing is going to harm you. Nothing's going to drag you kicking and screaming to the basement and stab you and gouge out your eyes or any of that weird stuff. Just to let everybody know. So it's not like a fun house.
No.
You know, you're participating in an actual paranormal investigation, the way they're supposed to be conducted.
Absolutely. A very professional one, by the way, too, because you're a professional team. And a couple of people are commenting about smells that they get. So phantom smells are very common in the Adams house as well. I think that's
Except if somebody has too much chili. Those are phantom smells.
I love it. I love it. Well, you guys, I have enjoyed so much being live with you tonight. Obviously, I'm a part of this team, so I'm pretty partial, but you're always a hoot to spend time with. And thank you so much for educating. Future questions that come on the podcast, I'll let you know that we can answer those for people. But thank you guys so much for hanging out tonight. And for those of you watching, thank you for the
And she's freezing up again.
I know, dang it.
Thank you for the questions and thank you for the support. If you can hear me, we have bad internet connection. But thank you. Appreciate it. I hope you have enjoyed our night. So we'll see you on the next episode of Soul Chat.
thanks, Dani.
Thanks,
Yes,
Dani.
thanks, Dani. Thanks for having
Dani.
us.
Thanks for having, and look forward to working with everybody again.
Yes.